Hi guys, and welcome to the TruGolf Academy. You've joined me, Jon Watts, and today I'm at Drayton Park Golf Club in my swing studio, and I want to do a video on the role of the grip when we're putting. And I wanted to give you a few key points that we're looking for in terms of how we hold the golf club to try and get better control of the club head. The weather's pretty horrible outside at the minute, so I thought I'd take advantage of my indoor Huxley putting green to go through this with you. Now, the first thing to say, and if you've watched any golf and seen the pros on the telly, you'll have seen there's 101 different grips out there and a lot of different versions, and a lot of them have got some merits. And as long as you can control the putter head, then I don't care how you're holding it. So the really important things when we're putting is that we hit the ball out the center of the putter, and the putter is pointing at our intended start line at the point the ball releases off the club face. So we need the club face to basically be square to our target line. Okay, that won't necessarily be the hole, but our intended start line, allowing for any break and getting the ball out the center of the putter. So however you manage to repeat that, as long as you can do it consistently and you've got those two key points, it doesn't really matter too much how you hold it. But there are a few key fundamentals on whichever way you go round with your hands that I do think are really important. And there are some big differences between holding a putter to holding an iron or a wood. So the putter grip itself tends to be a different shape and a different size and a flat area down the front. And I think we're all aware that flat area is for our thumbs. But I still get people with their thumbs too much on either side. And what we're really trying to get when we're putting is a very palmy grip. Now, when we're actually hitting our irons on woods, we want the grip to be much more down in our fingers. Okay? And the reason for that is we're trying to generate some speed and power. In putting, we don't need the speed and power, we need control. So what we're looking for is the putter grip to be running through our lifeline, so much higher up in the palm of our hand. So I would always put my bottom hand on first. So I grip it relatively conventionally with the right hand below the left. I'll go on to the other way around and the advantage of that in a second. But I would always put my right hand on first. And I'm really looking for the grip, the side of the grip, to be running from the index finger on my right hand through my lifeline, okay, so the highest one of our three lines on our hands that's up towards the pad of our thumb. So it's from the index finger of the right hand through the lifeline to the bottom of the pad of the right thumb there. So it's very much up in the palm. And what that means is I can only just get my thumb down the center. I can't go too much to the right or too much to the left. Okay, so let's do that again. And if I come a little bit closer to the camera, what you'll also see when I'm holding this is I've got a big gap here between my fingers and the grip. Okay, whereas if it was much more in the fingers and my hand was over, there'd be no gap in here at all. I definitely want to see, and it's a good checkpoint, a gap in here between your hand and the putter grip around the back of the handle. Okay, so my thumb's down the target. A good way of getting this right is just thinking that we're trying to get our palm of our bottom hand. So for me, I'm gripping it, as I said, relatively conventional. My right hand, I'm trying to get my palm facing at my intended start line. Whereas if my hand was too far over, it'd be pointing to the left, too far under, it'd be pointing more to the right. Okay, so very much through the lifeline, running from the index finger through the lifeline to the bottom of the pad of the thumb. So we've got this gap here, as I talked about, between the grip and my fingers down the back. And then I would slide my lead hand, so for me, my left hand, onto the club. And I'm trying to do a very similar thing. I personally do believe that we should have some connection between the hands. Again, there are a couple of good putters out there that have a split hand grip. So one hand is much lower than the other. The downside to that is it tends to cause your dominant hand to be a little bit over-aggressive. So for me, if my right hand was at the bottom and I'm right-handed, it can cause that right hand to be working a little bit too much. We're really trying to create a pulling movement, not a pushing movement when we're putting. Okay, so we're very much pulling the putter through, not trying to push something. And that's why it's also important to have our pressure
onto our front foot, onto our lead leg. I've done a video on that and I'll put the link to it in this video, so please check that one out as well. I'm going to just stick to the grip today, but check that video out as it's got some key points to what we're talking about today about keeping that pressure onto our lead leg. So I've got my bottom hand on, I've got my right hand on, I'm going to slide my top hand, my left hand onto it, and again I'm looking for very much the same thing where the grip is running through my palm, so it's following my lifeline, and I'm just, because I've got my bottom hand on first, I'm just going to slide my left hand into it, so my thumb or my thumbnail on my left hand gets just underneath my pad of my right thumb, so there's a connection between them. I use a reverse overlap grip, which just means the index finger of my top hand, of my lead hand, just covers the fingers on my right hand. I think that's a really good idea to, again, create some connection between them. That is the most commonly used putting grip. As I said, there are 101 different versions out there, and you're seeing all sorts of things. It was only this week we're seeing Bryson DeChambeau putting actually on this side action. I hope I've pronounced his surname correct. I'm sure I haven't. Putting side on using that style. So there really are a lot of different versions out there. You will see a number of different, and as long as it's effective, I'm not overly worried. But the key points here is to put your bottom hand on first, running from the index finger of your bottom hand, so for me, my right hand, through my lifeline to the bottom of the pad. So we've got this gap in here. My palm is facing at my intended start line. I like to see some connection between the bottom and the top hand, and my preference is definitely a reverse overlap grip, so we're creating some connection between the hands. Now, I'm just going to quickly go on to if we were going to go the other way round. So actually my left hand below my right, so the reverse overlap grip. Now, this has some real advantages. One big advantage with having your left below your right is it will level your shoulders rather than your right shoulder for a right-handed golfer sitting below their left. That again allows me to keep more pressure onto my lead leg and not to be hitting too much up in the golf ball. It's not a problem actually hitting upwards, but what we don't want to be doing is hitting upwards and increasing the loft on the putter. We should actually be de-lofting the putter slightly. So it has some advantages gripping it with your left hand below your right for a right-handed golfer. It definitely levels the shoulders and sets a bit more pressure onto your lead leg. If you do grip it that way around, still make sure you stick to the same fundamentals in terms of where the grip is running through. Let me go ahead and hit a couple here for you. So I'd put my right hand on first after aligning the club, just getting it so a side of the hand or my palm is facing at my intended start line. The grip is running index finger through my lifeline, bottom of the pad, right hand's on. Then sneak my lead hand, my left hand, onto the grip, trying to do the same thing, keeping an extremely light grip pressure. Just missed that one a little bit right. Not a bad pace. Let's try one more. Sneak my lead hand onto it. One look at the target and go. Oh, same outcome, just missing a touch to the right. I can't finish on that one, can I? I've put the pressure on me. I've only got 3 golf balls. This one's got to go in. All right, let's try one more. Keeping that grip pressure extremely light. And overcompensate, just missing a little left to target. If you stick to those grip fundamentals, you will gain a lot more control over that club head. Remembering that the really important points is that we hit it out the center and the club face is pointing where we want to hit the golf ball at our intended start line. So do stick to those fundamentals. Let me know how you get on with the putting grip. Do post some comments and questions below. Let me know how badly I missed those 3 putts. Check out all our other videos, and all the social media info you need is coming along the bottom of the screen right now. Thanks, guys.